Hey, Joe Gilder here. Got a question about mixing vocals. It says, this is from David, somehow I always struggle with it. Getting the level right, getting the sound right, setting the right reverb/delay so it still is up front but not too dry. So I'm going to give you a couple of my vocal mixing tips, stuff that's worked really well for me. It's not going to be exhaustive because, I could probably show you 4 hours worth and just scratch the surface. So some of this is just, you got to just do it a lot and start to kind of get experience. But for me, a couple of things. First of all, when recording the vocal, it's really important to get that part right. I talk about get it right at the source a lot. Back when I first started recording, let's assume this fake LaCroix is the microphone. I used to kind of think, if proximity effect means the closer I am to the microphone, the boomier the sound is, which is true, then I used to think I want to record from far away, because that's how you see like Sinatra recording, and who doesn't want to be like Sinatra? Problem with that is you end up getting a brighter sound, and sometimes I found, with my voice at least, when the microphone is like a foot away, it's no longer boomy, great, but somehow the sibilants, the S's and T's, the way they form between here and there starts to get kind of annoying and obnoxious. And I find myself spending a lot of time with de-essers and EQing the upper mid-range to get it to feel warm and full. And so one day I said, man, I am struggling with these vocals. What's the problem? And so I just slapped the mic back up close again. Problem solved. A lot of those problems were solved. Yes, it has a little too much low end. You just roll that off with a high pass filter, maybe a little bit of a low shelf to turn down some of the boominess, and then everything else is just works better. The compression likes it more. It's easier to EQ. Your mileage may vary, but it came from a friend of mine came over with that blue bottle microphone. Have you seen it? It's this big, it's a big honking thing. And he had read on their site, they had talked about how it's meant to be close. It doesn't sound good from far away. So we did it that way, and I started thinking, maybe these microphones like this thing, the Roswell Mini K47 and all these other great vocal mics, maybe they're kind of voiced to sound good up close. And that's just kind of, haven't looked back for the last couple of years doing that, which in some ways you might be watching this and being like, this guy's an idiot. Of course we record with the vocals up close, but I am an idiot and it took me a while to get there. So that's the first thing, is obviously get the recording sounding good, capture a good sounding recording. From there, a couple of things. If the vocal sounds good already, add compression first. If it doesn't sound good and needs some fixing, then EQ that first and then compress. I like to compress things that sound good. I like to EQ things that don't. So that kind of is what determines the order of compression and EQ, especially on vocals. Another big thing, if you're getting some kind of sharpness from the vocal, like an frequency, that's usually in the 2 to 3K range. Go find that one that's kind of ringing out and just do a notch. Look like that. The vocal tone won't change much, it just won't be annoying anymore, and it'll feel smoother. That's a big piece. And then finally, become really familiar with how to use de-essers. You can compress it and EQ it and it sounds amazing, but those S's chop your face off. Get good at using a de-esser, and you'll find that it'll take work, it takes time, but the better you can get at it, you'll find a way to make the vocal upfront, airy, crisp, without being too harsh and too sibilant. Those are some places to get you started. Go try some out, let me know how it works.